I mean, this patch, there are some big things, some big changes in a certain sense with certain characters. One of the ones everybody wanted was, so far standing slash doesn't like keep you in oppression now, so it pushes you back. Um, you got changes for Faust. Faust actually has a wall break super now, which he should have had in the beginning. I've actually practiced with him a little bit. He actually has a little more damage too. Some people say, "Oh, it's not that big of a change." I'm like, I don't know. His corner damage actually from his what's it? He has a target combo. It's heavy slash into heavy slash. He does a lot more damage now. Well, I'm not gonna say a lot, but he does a noticeable amount of damage now extra. Um,
Yeah.
the one change that I've seen so far that I'm just kind of like, well, two changes, two characters, Anji and Leo. Two characters I despise fighting. I hate fighting both of these characters. Um, Leo is just a character that does what he wants to. He's the type of person to come in your house. He say, "Hey, can you take your shoes off?" He's just like, "I don't think I will." Like, no, but everybody take the shoes off, put them right there at the front door. He's like, "Nope." He's like, "Well, you got to get out." I don't think I'll do that either. He's that type of person. And now they've added he can dash. I think dash cancel and jump cancel. I forgot which move it is. Let me check on my screen here. I
I
think
think it's
it's
standing S.
yeah. He can
Standing K. Sorry, standing
yeah
K.
the 5K yeah. He can dash cancel that, and I think he can also jump cancel that from the shenanigans that he's already doing, tap dancing on your forehead. I'm just like, I don't know. We'll have to see the application. I've seen a video of it on Twitter already. It looks like it could be stupid. Things might get in this game. It might get crazy with this character as he already was. Um, so we'll just have to see. Some people saying it's reactable, this, that, and the third, but we'll see how things play out. But from what I'm seeing so
Yeah.
far, that was a change that he did not need because he was already just all over the place doing what he wants to. An option selectable DP just because it hits on both sides and it knocks you down. So Unji, this man can do his special attacks from whiff now, and I'm just like, oh, that's great. The nutty Anji play that I've already been experiencing is going to get worse because I know people talk about Anji. Oh, Anji's so bad. Anji don't have
I
nothing.
was about to say,
Anji,
isn't he like low tier? In his only favorable matchup is the training mode matchup?
man, I don't know. I think the character is been better than what people are saying. And now he can cancel before he does what is it the Fujin like the green impact like the when he hits you he can actually cancel like the animation and like just do something. So now he doesn't have to hit you with it and like he can just cancel it. I'm like, all right, this is gonna get dumb. When you pair this with like purple RC, which I've already seen people put videos up on Twitter, I'm like, this might get dumb. I think his 5S got buffed, which I thought was already a good normal. He already has one of the best air buttons in the game. His 5H is like almost uncontestable. It's just a big wall of fans. He's just like coming in, just giving you the church fan treatment. So I don't know. Those are the two things I saw that were kind of like I'm not the most pleased by, but it's whatever. I mean, the game is gonna be the game. People gonna play it, whatever. I think she has some changes that might be in her favor. Um, but yeah, I don't think anybody really got like too crazy, too besides from that whole dash thing from Leo. Um, people are still talking about Gold Lewis saying he got nothing. He did get some changes. I've seen a change where he can like put some damage out, which he already could, but it's like I think they changed his Gatling gun now. How it works, you can like combo out. I don't know if you could do that already, but I haven't seen it before. Um, but yeah, we'll see. Leo, not Leo, but Ramathal, she got some changes that I think were needed. Kai, I felt Kai got some buffs, but I still don't think he got what he needed. Personally, like for Kai, I think his jump 5 heavy slash should change because like if you notice, he swings the sword downward, but the bottom part of the hit it doesn't have a hitbox. I'm like, what's the point of making it go all the way down here if it doesn't actually hit? But you got Ramathal, which they nerfed her for jump 5H, I think. It's got nerfed now, which was the move would hit from like anywhere on the screen. So it's like I'm so glad they changed that. But we'll see. Like I said, they changed Axel. He can special cancel his one vision now, which is kind of cool. but the damage scaling on it is terrible. If you do that, you get no damage. From what I've tested so far, might be some way to break that scaling, but the scaling on that, if you combo into that, you might as well give it up. You're gonna get maybe 100 damage. So I think we just have to see how this patch plays out. But I think right now, Anji is one to look out for to see how he develops, and Leo, because Leo gonna be tap dancing on everybody.
So like, and so the thing is like this is like the whole thing with Anji with his like a whole his whiff, and then you can still do the follow ups. That was a point that I mean, like if anybody remembers, like a while back, that was a problem I had with the character because before in older games he was able to do that where even if he whiffed like the first part, he could still do the abilities. It was like the reason why that was a big deal is because if he can't do that, then the kick option to me always just seemed kind of like it's superfluous. There's no point, almost no point in even having it. You know what I mean? Like if you can't like the when you do the kick option after that, he jumps forward. But if if you're like if you can only do it if you hit somebody, then like if you hit them, then it's kind of like there's no point. There's almost no point in even having it. You might as well have taken it out of the game. So it's kind of cool now that they actually did it. So it's like, yeah, you can still do the slash, the hard slash, and the kick for all of the follow-ups like that because it makes him a lot more scarier and a little bit more closer to how he was in previous games. I saw some of the changes for like Chip, like they gave him like his one of his moves makes it he can low profile a little bit more, which is kind of cool. They changed now Nagoriyuki's thing I think on one of the slashes where he gets more blood back when it will on hit and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. I think like, all right, so this is just my personal opinion. I felt like this for a while, right? Like, I think some of the changes are cool. Some of the changes are a little like, I mean, I guess, and some of the changes that they made to some characters, I'm like, why did you need to even change that in the first place? You know, like with like Wild Throw and stuff like that for like Saul. I'm just kind of like, some of these changes, I'm just kind of like, man, whatever. But I don't know, man. In terms of like Guilty Gear Strive, I like the game in a vacuum. It's a good game. It's a pretty good game. But as far as like like if we're talking about all of the Guilty Gear games that have come out, this is like so far, and I know I want to catch some flack for saying this. This might be one of the worst Guilty Gear games that has ever come out.
I appreciate it,
Like
man. You keep giving
from
me
a
these
personal
clips. I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
uh, I'm just saying, like, I mean, I know some people are gonna like be really like disappointed, but yeah, I mean, in the vacuum, it's a good game. Like, it's not to say that it's a horrible game or whatever. It's a good game, but it's one of the worst, in my opinion, worst Guilty Gear games that they've made so far. And you know, I mean, there's a bunch of reasoning behind that, but like right now, it's like, I mean, the fact that basically what they did was in this patch, instead of like sticking with like what they had already done for Anji, what did they do? They basically made him more like his old version in other versions of the game. Like, it's not like they were like, hey, like we're just gonna keep him the way he is. We're gonna return him back to form and make him how he was in older games. I mean, like there are certain complaints, like the fact that if you throw out like Gamma Blade as Chip, like, you know, your quarter circle forward hard slash, and if somebody hits that, you take damage. That is completely nonsensical. There's no way you could explain that to me where it's going to make sense. That makes absolutely no sense. Like him throwing out that shadow clone and you punching it. Meanwhile, like you have Nagoriyuki who basically does a very similar attack, almost the same attack, and if you hit it, it's like I mean, it's just a mirage. It's a shadow clone. It doesn't matter. But if you get hit by it, you know, you take damage. But I don't like what exactly is the difference between that move and Chip's move? You know what I mean? Like you have to explain it in some kind of way. And I don't think they're going to address that. It's like there's some things like in this game that I think that need to be addressed. I know like we were like talking about earlier, like I mean, like this is kind of more of a lighter patch and that's cool, but that's like I'm kind of looking forward. Like I think Terance was saying, like he was saying, it's like what in October we might be getting a bigger patch than this, but like I'm almost like I'm waiting until like October, man. I'm waiting until like October to see what they really like, if they really address some of these like nonsensical properties on moves. It's like the like even I would say that even like some of the problems with Nagoriyuki, I think the blood gauge is a little bit too punishing sometimes. I think there's so many issues I have, and I'm like, once again, I gotta be honest. I like the game. I'm not saying I dislike the game. I'm just saying that the what's keeping me around. Number one is the fact that I get to play with my friends, but number two, that we're getting like Slayer. You know what I mean, or like Happy Chaos and stuff like to see the other characters and how they're being implemented into the game. But other than that, man, like yeah, man, they gotta I like the game, but they got work to do, man. They got some work to do because some of these decisions that they made are absolutely nutty to me, and hopefully they take the right path. What like in terms of like moving forward, because right now I'm just kind of like, man, this game is cool, but and then I feel like that I'm saying that when I'm talking to people more often than I'd like. Like, well, Guilty Gear Strive is cool, but hey, amazing. Should I buy the game? Well, Guilty Gear Strive is cool, but like I feel like I'm saying that a lot more often than I should be saying it. If I say somebody asks me, hey, should I buy Soul Calibur 6? I'm like, yeah, go ahead and play Soul Calibur 6. It's great. It's like, what about Guilty Gear Strive? Well, it's cool, but so yeah, man, that's but yeah, like I think the patch is okay, but like I want more. I want a lot more. Like the whole Anji thing, that's cool, but I'm gonna need a lot more to like increase my enjoyment and my opinion of the game thus far.
Tell them
For
the truth,
me-
man. Speak the truth.
give them those give them the clips, huh? No, but I say for me, I haven't gotten a chance to really dive into the patch like that, just because like I've seen the patch notes, but for me, I need to see stuff in actual practice to know like there's a difference between what's being said on like the notes themselves and how that applies to the actual game. And so far I haven't seen a lot of that myself because we're recording this the day the patch has gone out. It's August 27th, and I mean Jacko's out and the patch is out. It came out like midnight, like 2 a.m. or something like that or so. But anyway, I haven't gotten the chance to see the patch in action. I've seen Jacko and she looks cool. Like she seems like she's going to be actually pretty complex. Like her commands are simple, but it seems like there's a lot of layers to the character. I was watching Leffen and Sonic Fox play Jacko, and Sonic, they had some layers and like mix-ups going on with the character. And I just think that it's interesting with the DLC how they're approaching it, whereas the original roster, they're not basic, but everyone is more straightforward than they've been in the past. But then with the DLC characters, they're making them more complex. So I don't know if that's kind of them going back on the design philosophy that they were originally approaching the game with in terms of making things more simple. Because you have Gold Lewis, who has like a pizza for his commands, and you have Jacko, who has these layers of complexity with the servants, tossing them, mix-ups and everything. So I'm curious to see who's the next DLC character is going to be, and how, if they're going to be as complex as Gold Lewis and Jacko, or if they're going to be someone who's more along the lines of the original roster. But in terms of where Guilty Gear is right now with the patch and everything, I think Strive is an interesting testament to how we've learned to dissect games over the past decade. Like with Street Fighter 4, when that came out, I didn't play it at launch, but with the vanilla version, I don't think we knew as much about it coming into it as we do with a lot of games now. Like with Guilty Gear Strive, it being released, it feels like just within like a month or two, there's so much that we've learned about the game that even though the game came out in June and we're at the end of August, it feels like we need more, just because we're able to just dive into these games and dive like deeper into these games than we ever have before. It just seems like tech pops up every single day, whereas like years prior, like every once in a while you would see new tech, but now it's like every day you see something on Twitter. So people are dissecting the game easier and better than ever. And so I think I agree with Evan that October, that's going to be the real turning point for the game, or at least it needs to be, because if they don't make some real changes to it, then that's when people might start to make their exit. I like Strive as it is right now, just because while it reminds me of Grand Blue in that it's easy to pick up and easy to learn certain characters, but there is kind of like the ceiling there in terms of how high you can take them has yet to be determined, at least in my opinion. Because just from what I've seen, certain characters, it feels like there's still more that we can do. Like, I feel like there's still some more optimal things that we haven't found yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there faster than I think a lot of people are anticipating. I think that's what Sonic was talking about in terms of it feels like Guilty Gear Strive has been figured out just because people are able to find all this stuff so quickly. Whereas with games like Skullgirls and I don't know, trying to think of something else off my head, but just Skullgirls, for example, there's still stuff being discovered. But at the same time, I think we have to keep in mind that this is a vanilla game, and usually vanilla games are never like the greatest iteration of said game. So we'll see what they do with, whatever they decide to make like part 2 of Guilty Gear Strive. I don't know, it's Guilty Gear Strive Rev 1 or whatever, because Street Fighter 5, that like the vanilla Street Fighter 5 was not great. It wasn't until we got to pretty much like Championship Edition where it was getting solid, and the same can be said for a lot of the other fighting games that have come out. So, I mean, we're having the vanilla blues. We're having the vanilla blues sooner than I think a lot of us anticipated, but we'll just have to see what ArcSys has planned for the game. So I like it, but I can agree with others that there are some things that could stand to be changed. And I mean, ArcSys, they've shown themselves to be capable of like listening to the fan base and making those changes. So I think it's only a matter of time before we get the game that we really want.